Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast. Today I'm going to introduce you to Dane, who is the founder and CEO of Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle and a holistic nutritionist who specializes in reversing Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. But here's the thing. He didn't study it from a distance. He actually lived it. At just 23 years old, Dane had done what most people only dream about. He went from a small farm town in Virginia to building a successful career as an actor and model in LA, international magazines, commercials, high profile brands, the whole thing. And on the outside, he was literally being paid to be healthy. And behind the scenes, his body was completely breaking down. Today, we're going to get into the story where at the height of his career, Dane Johnson was diagnosed with both severe ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, and how over the next 4 years, his life would unravel, losing over 60 pounds, experiencing all of the pain that comes with that, and also a near-death experience. So let's kind of jump straight into it. Dane, welcome to the show. So good to have you here today.
Yes, Nicole, thank you so much for having me. And I just want to take this time to dedicate this to anyone out there who's chronically sick, autoimmune disease, chronic inflammatory response, inflammatory bowel disease. Healing is possible. It's hard, but you can do it. And I hope today we can just unravel some of those root causes and how we can get real results and take back our health. We're meant to be healthy. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, I'm glad to have you here. Health is one of my favorite things to talk about. It certainly was part of my great awakening. It was just one of those things in my, 20 years old where it put me on a very deep spiritual path of learning how to heal myself from the inside out and face all of the different emotional roots that come with the body's messages that are designed to catch our attention. But for you, I'm curious, when did you start doing what you're doing now? When you were a kid, did you ever have visions of kind of doing this kind of work, or did you have any inclination towards health or healing? Where were you at when you were younger?
When I was younger, I was an athlete. I loved fitness. I loved the gym. I worked out 6 days a week since I was 14. I asked for a gym set, for Christmas as a 14-year-old kid. I played multiple sports. And so I was just someone who wanted to be healthy. And when I got into, as I got older, a little older, later teenage, early 20s, and I started doing some acting and modeling. I moved out to LA and I'm working with Tommy Hilfiger and Nautica, and I'm in a few movies. And I'm a terrible actor, by the way, just so everyone knows. I'm not really a good actor. That's why I got out of it. One of the reasons I got out of it. But I was just willing to work hard. I was willing to be disciplined with what I ate. I was willing to get off the alcohol and do HIIT training and fast and reduce carbs and watch my macros. And so I had a natural discipline to me. But did I ever think I'd talk about bowel movements for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. Zero chance you would have got me to say, yeah, you're going to be talking about colon health, large intestines, studying digestive process and how the liver is connected and pancreatic enzymes and what autoimmune reactions are and cytokines. I just never thought so. But I think a lot of us, Nicole, and I think you can relate, it's really pain to purpose. A lot of us don't know what our passion is. And usually you can find a great passion in your greatest pain. And so when I was told I had an incurable disease, there's nothing I could do about it, 25 bloody bowel movements a day, going from 190 pounds to 123 pounds, wheelchair, can't walk, chronic pain, chronic bloat, urgency, cystic acne, and I'm going to Mayo Clinic, Cedars-Sinai, UCLA, and they're just telling me the same thing. You got to be on biologics for the rest of your life, take 40 to 60 milligrams of prednisone, titrate down, then go back on them because the flare is going to come back. Mesalamine doesn't work, suppositories, Canasa, all this different stuff. And then it was like, you have to get your colon removed. I said, wait a minute, doc, I'm 24 years old. I was perfectly healthy at 17. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Well, better luck next life. You got diagnosed with an incurable disease. It just happens. It's rare. There's no root cause. It just happens to you. There's nothing you did. It has nothing to do with food. And I was just blinking my eyes like, what? Wait. You're okay. So I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. I've got a bowel movement problem. Yeah, I'm going to tell my girlfriend about that or my parents. Are you kidding me? And you're saying it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Well, doc, every time I eat pizza or have a beer or go out and have alcohol, I feel worse. You're telling me there's no correlation? No, son, there's no correlation. And I go home and I'd fast for a day and I'd say, yeah, I can't keep this up, but my bowel movements just went from 20 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Pain just went from a 9 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. There's no correlation? No, there's no correlation. So I think I was young enough and honestly a little bit rebellious enough at a very young age to say, all these brilliant doctors who are 100 times smarter than me are saying things that just don't make sense. And I think that's why most of us are listening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I totally resonate with that. When I was younger and I had not as severe as an issue of what you were facing at your age, but
Mhm.
I was facing something that I felt was gonna ruin me for the rest of my life, like I was being told like cervical cancer was like the next thing and I just felt tainted by what the doctors had told me. And there was no cure, there was no whatever. And I also had a very rebellious nature. It was kind of like an F you, like you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do, and I'm going to prove you wrong. And so instantly it was about, I found a naturopath who did very different kinds of holistic healing that are way outside the realm of even what a lot of naturopaths would consider like within their realm. But I was open to anything. I was like, if it could potentially work, I'm willing to try it, right? Because the other option was there is no option.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. And then on from like just a bowel movement perspective,
Well, let's go there.
literally in my 20s, my girlfriend and I would every day, did you have your bowel movement yet? It was like the highlight of the day. We were like so excited to talk about bowel movements. So, to each their own. I don't know. To me, it's like the best part of the day. So it's like, but again, if you're doing 20 of them a day, that's not good. That's not fun. So
Oh,
we're well past
we
TMI.
talk. I talk about bowel movements with like 2,000 plus people in a community. So it's very common for us at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So when you were kind of going through like 17, you said you were totally fine, but by was it 23, you
Yeah,
were like at like the end of your rope, like something
yeah.
it has to give,
20,
right?
22. Yeah, and that's something about the diagnosis is it progresses. So they kept giving me different diagnosis. They said it's ulcerative colitis, left-sided ulcerative colitis, 7 centimeters. It's not much. And then it was what ulcerative colitis was spreading, getting worse. And then it was Crohn's disease. Then it was ulcerative colitis with gastritis. Then it was Crohn's disease. And then it was just eventually Crohn's colitis. And these were different doctors at the biggest hospitals. And just the expense of this, when we talk about natural medicine and cost, I would have to buy plane tickets, me and my mom, go stay in a hotel in Florida, then go see the doctor, and then maybe some stuff wouldn't be covered by insurance because I didn't have perfect insurance. And it was just like we just spent $5,000 just to go fly to the other side of the country and get a hotel and get some out of pocket stuff. And then we go to Whole Foods and buy a bunch of stuff that didn't really work. Dr. Google wasn't enough. And we were lost. We didn't know where to go. Hadn't met anyone who had been diagnosed or dealt with this. If I had had this podcast or this experience right now, it would have changed my life. And then
Hmm.
I didn't know how to deal with anger, resentment, and pain. So it was a lot of loss. It was a lot of isolation. It was a lot of why me, God. It was a lot of anger from about 1920 until about 27. So at 26, I nearly lost my life. I was housebound for a year. I was bed rested for 3 months. I was stuck in a hospital for 6 weeks. My mom, my sister, and my dad took turns kind of staying at the hospital with me. And they told my mom, I think it was like December 14th, 2014, that I might not live through the night. I was on TPN feeding tube. I was on 200 milligrams of infused prednisone. I had already failed Remicade. I was about to go back on Entyvio. I was on 3 different antibiotics. I was on Ambient for sleep. I was on 3 grams of Dilaudid, which is 7 times stronger than morphine. So a very powerful painkiller. It's what you give to someone who's really dying, and I was. And that's really where I have the goal and in the fire to be here. I went back to school for natural medicine and And then I just really became patient zero. So when I was housebound for a year, I was working with my naturopath professors. I was meeting with anyone I could talk with, reading books all day long. I was 40 hours a week trying to self-heal. And so after about 9 or 10 months, and this is about 3 or 4 years of already trying natural medicine. So when I almost died, I was already in school for natural medicine. I'd already tried carnivore diet, paleo diet, fasting, bone broth, making my homemade yogurts, standing on my head and clapping my toes. I mean, all the woo-woo I had been trying. So I think a lot of people out there will really realize this, that there's a difference between reading about something, taking a test on something, and living something, and saying, this is life or death. I have to be able to control these bowel movements. And it's having a colon or not, because the surgeon to take out my colon, the whole 7-8 feet of my colon, was in the other room waiting for me to say, let's do it. Just literally, let's do it right now. And I kept denying it. Now, that wasn't always safe for me, and I had to learn how to help support other people through the last 10 years, because I've been helping people with Crohn's and colitis for about 10 or 11 years now, and we've helped more people on the planet naturally than any doctor, physician, clinic, hospital in the world. We see about 250 IBD clients any given time around the world: Africa, India, Switzerland, Dubai, Japan, mostly United States and Canada, about 70% United States. But so it's kind of like when you get to that experience, it's like you can't. It's hard to know if your heart's in it and you have integrity and passion about something unless you've lived it. And I think that's also why you're here and what you do. And then there's a difference between trying to be, the world's naturopath versus a specialist who's had it, beat it, specializes in it, can show you hundreds of testimonies with it. And it's still very hard. This isn't a walk in the park. This is one of the hardest things you're going to do, is try to get empowered and eliminate symptoms of an incurable disease. And usually when you get diagnosed with IBD, these root issues have been going on for years. Like, you don't get an overburdened liver overnight. You don't get a poor microbiome overnight. Just from usually one round of antibiotics is not going to do it. It's years of glyphosate, years of microplastics, years of poor eating habits, years of your body not being able to control underlying viruses or buildup of mycotoxins to develop chronic inflammatory response syndrome. All sorts of high levels, Nicole, that if I had heard this, it would have gone way over my head. So 10 and 11 years later, 20,000 hours later, you start learning about all these things that are happening in the body, how we're disconnected from the earth, how the immune system works, how the microbiome is connected, how the nervous system is connected, and what are the root issues that the doctors never told us. And I would like to say a few. As I was going into those doctors, after I'd been in so much pain, Nicole, I was a willing patient. Like, doc, tell me, do I need to get rid of pizza? Do I need to get rid of alcohol? No, pizza doesn't matter. Just go on a low fiber, low residue diet. I don't know if that's enough. I haven't had a salad in a year and a half and I'm still bleeding 20 times a day. I don't know if that's enough to get my hemoglobin up, doc. Like, what should I do? And so the problem is that my brilliant doctors, they were emergency care physicians, but they didn't specialize. And then my naturopath doctors, I went to many, and I even had them as professors. They didn't specialize in IBD. They specialized in metabolics or IBS or mitochondria energy or the nervous system and its connection. Or they had a profession in the whole body. But when you're dealing with a life-threatening IBD case, or even a young child, we've seen 9-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 15-year-olds, or someone who's been sick for 40 years and already had 3 surgeries, it has a stricture, it has fistulas. These doctors don't have time to try that and do trial and error and get 30 clients or patients under their belt and start studying the different types of protocols out there, like HBOT or DMSO or light therapy or ozone therapy or peptides, and do they really work, and where should we invest our time, energy, and money. And that's what we really do. It's 10, 15,000 hours of understanding that, and that's what I needed, and that's what I tried to build for myself. But even just to get myself balanced, where I got myself about 85% symptom free and had about 80 to 90% normal colonoscopy, and I decided to get myself off of the medication. So I got myself off of prednisone. I was on for 4 years, on and off. Methotrexate immunomodulator, because I had failed 6-MP and others. I got myself off mesalamine, which is the lightest and easiest. And I got myself off Entyvio, which the doctor said I'd never do. And I got myself off Ambien. I got myself off painkillers. And I got myself off an antiviral chemotherapy that actually saved my life. Because what was killing me versus just a really bad IBD reaction was cytomegalovirus, which me and my mom had found with a doctor in Florida, had taken over my body. And the immunosuppressants had wiped me out so much, we could no longer control this virus. So it had just taken over my body. Like, a lot of people don't realize, if you get something really bad, like let's say, for instance, you got HIV. a lot of times you don't die of HIV. Your immune system's so weakened from HIV, you can die of pneumonia. You can die of cytomegalovirus. If you research CMV virus and where it's most deadly, it's usually most deadly in someone who's already has another disease where their immune system is completely weakened.
Okay.
That's what happens in cancer sometimes. That's what happens in other severe issues. So my body was so wiped out and I was so malnourished. CMV had taken over my body. Doctors couldn't find it. That's why I almost died. And there was a doctor in Florida who stained for it, found it. We had to put myself on an antiviral chemotherapy to save my life. Then about 2 weeks later, I checked myself out of the hospital with the doctors kind of looking at me wide-eyed like, I don't know what you're going to do at home because you can barely walk. So I had to relearn how to walk. I was bedridden for 3 months. Relearned to walk because I had such muscle atrophy. So neurologically it was there. I just couldn't move my calves or my legs. And it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. Yeah.
Can I ask you, because, you know, you saying like at 14 years old, you were like in sports, like you're an athlete, you were so into fitness and like you were dedicated to your temple, right? Your body as your temple. And then all of a sudden your temple is no longer functioning the way you've ever known it to be. And it's literally like dying from the inside out. So when you're in that position where you are you no longer have the identity that you had like in your younger years, and your body is no longer your ally but seems to be like your enemy in a way. What was going through your mind, and how did you like, my question is, did you have to completely transform your relationship with your body from the ground up? Like, was there some sort of like like, I know there was all these like
Like a
external
switch.
things that you wanted to do, like obviously with food or different things, but was there also like a internal shift for you in how you were approaching your body?
100% yes. And to echo or give a little deeper, I don't think you can truly heal until that emotional, spiritual rebirth. It's a rebirth happens. I didn't get results with restrictive eating, choking down supplements, probiotics until I made that shift. And part of it is because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a community. I didn't have training. There was no one I'd ever met who had been through this. I was reading a few people, their books, and they were my mentors. They were my inspiration. These people in books who said they naturally healed. But yes, 100%. You have to hold on harder than ever by becoming the CEO of your health, but then you have to let go in such a hard way by saying, I have to believe in a higher purpose. I'm not meant to be sick. And I have to let go of the pain and anger and the resentment, even though I'm entitled to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God, this is not fair. How could you do this to me in my young age? And you look at your mother and you look at the doctor, no one can help you. And you've written checks. We'd already spent 40, 50 grand. What else is there to do? As a kid, and I consider a 19, 20-year-old in my mind, I was a kid. I wasn't ready for war. This was war. My mother and father could not help me. That doctor could not help me. It was just drugs, surgery. And then my mom was up for years just running around spending all their money, lost her job trying to figure this out with me. And I know there's probably moms and dads listening right now. There is this war that has to happen where this is for me. I had to turn into a man in a way that most people in the year 2010 or 2026 don't have to do yet. I had to get off my knees and become the CEO of my health and do something that brilliant doctors who've been doing this for 30 years says is impossible. And who am I?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give that power up. So for me, that switch was, daily actions, prayer. I don't care what you pray to. You got to start getting on your knees and saying, I release this pain, anger, doubt, and fear. Please, Jesus, or please God, or please North Star, or please Kermit the Frog, whatever your thing is.
That's the first one I've heard, Kermit the Frog.
I try to get everyone, I de-escalate everyone listening. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. And I think going through this made me I was raised Christian, but this really brought me back to God in all honesty, because you know what's crazy? At 3 or 4 days into prayer and journaling, I started sleeping through the night in the first time in about a year. Like there's a power. There is a divine power. There is something bigger than ourselves. I know it in my gut. I just can feel it. And you will know it when you are backed into a corner and there are no options. Wait till you're in that moment and see when you'll start praying, right? When life is good, we're kind of like, we second guess everything. When life's really bad, you will subconsciously start feeling the mana, the spiritual, the avatar, the movie, The Avatar, like that kind of like woodsman Tarzan in your human spirit has to awaken. Mm-hmm. You have to awaken your creation thought and idea, you have to awaken your perspective. Is it good? Is it bad? Because there's victimhood in that. There's trauma in that. There's rest and digest or fight or flight mode in that. What perspective are you going to live in? Are you going to breathe in? Are you going to focus on the green? Are you going to focus on the red? Like, you ever heard Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, what are you focusing on? You got to get present. You got to get aware. You got to find gratitude. You have to feed your spirit. You cannot buy spiritual healing. You have to feed your spirit emotional, positive energy. And it has to be a describing positive adjective. Gratitude, love, prayer, peace, fortitude. Like, these are energies you have to experience, and there's experience through action. Like, reading is action. Listening right now, if you're getting a sense of, wow, that's fire. Wow, that's energy I need. Wow, that's what I needed to hear. That is your spirit saying, feed me.
Listening to you speak about all of this, one of the things that stands out to me as someone who has been on my own healing journey for 30 years and loves to be part of everyone else's healing journey to help them in understanding where's the exit door for you so that you're not continuously in this like cycle loop, right? And one thing I've known about the body specifically is that, especially when it comes to the digestives, like the intestines, anything digestive, like that is a very intuitive center. It's a very feeling place. A lot of emotions sit there. But I would say above all that I think really stands out from what you said is that it is the place where you have to let go and let God and really surrender. Like, this is a place where you do not get to control. You have to really lean into it and like let it flow and let it go. And so for you, do you feel like the first part of your healing when it comes to this specific area, did it incorporate that area of just fully surrender and letting go?
100%. It was actually one of the most important things to heal. If I was to tell anyone any way, I mean, I've worked with people with cancer and IBD. I've worked with people with POTS and IBD. I've worked with people with endometriosis and IBD, or primary sclerosing cholangitis, or people who've been sick for 40 years. The first thing you have to do is you have to let go and also hold on as tight as you can in two different ways. It's a paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to let go of the fact that something bad happened to you and it's not your fault. And God's not trying to smite you. The world's not trying to smite you, that you're not alone in this. And you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive God. You have to forgive your doctors. You've got to forgive and let go. At the same time, you have to hold on like a bull, like a horns of a bull riding on the back of your actions, your willingness to get a paddle and swim. What am I going to do on a day-to-day basis? You let go, but you're going to say, how I sleep is my responsibility. What I listen to is my responsibility. What I watch is my responsibility. What I put in my mouth is my responsibility. What supplements I put in my responsibility. How I am discerning with my money, my time, my energy is my responsibilities. It's not doctors. It's not God's. It's not my mom's. It's not my wife's or my husband's. It's mine. So I got both of those. And that's why I started with prayer, and I started with walks. And I started with, I've got to let go of, for me, I had to let go of a bit of my social life. I mean, I was going out for, I was starting to work out of my career, but I had just booked a lead role in a World War II movie with a few actors from Shawshank Redemption. I was like, let's go. We're gonna make this acting thing work. I'm from the woods. I'm from the sticks of Virginia. Like, this was crazy to me. Like, I'm shooting Tommy Hilfiger and Nautica, and then I'm dying at the same time. I went from a show with UGG, that I was leading for a few years, directly to the ER room, and I almost died 2 weeks later. The irony in my heart was insane. And I didn't grow up in this world. I'm from the middle of Virginia. I took a one-way flight and did all this. So there's a lot of emotional healing where you have to divorce modern day narcissistic principles or ego or this idea with guys, like we want our muscles. I was in the gym 6 days a week. I was like 6.5% body fat. I had a 315-pound bench press. Now I'm in a wheelchair and I can't even stand, and I'm pooping my pants. Can you understand the spectrum?
Very
of that
humbling place to be from where you were.
And thank God. I mean, I'm 39 years old. This was all 15 years ago, 17 years ago. And I've dedicated myself. Like, now I don't live in that ego. I don't live in that world anymore. I'm dedicated to helping people heal from inflammatory bowel disease, and I'm on a mission. And now it was the best thing that happened to me now, because I was willing to go through that fire we're talking about, Nicole. The fire of surrender, the fire of shame, the fire of what's my passion and what's my values in life. So to this day, health is my number one priority. I still struggle straight up. I still struggle with my career and the stress from my career and being a little bit of a martyrdom of always helping somebody else that sometimes it hurts my health. It's still something I'm working on. I believe I'm being transparent and honest and real with certain things. I've bootstrapped a company and that's had me work, 80 hours a week for years. I worked 3 jobs at one point after I healed. So it's never perfect. None of us walk on water in that regard, and we learn and grow. But I learned how to let go of poisonous food, how to prioritize health, how to interpret my lab work, how to work with different doctors, how to, get experience with root causes and fix them and rebuild my microbiome. I can eat a variety of food now. I can have salads. I can have beans. I could go out and have a celebration meal. I teach people not to cheat. We only celebrate. I don't like limiting beliefs and bubble boy mentality. I don't like victimhood. So I don't have a diet. I got a lifestyle. I can do whatever I want. I'm just in charge of what I want to do what I want. It's like me and you can both drive 110 miles an hour in our cars, but because we're responsible adults, we drive in the right lane with 2 hands on the wheel and our seatbelt, and we drive the speed limit. Right? See, that's what we want to do with your body. We want to not get you on a restrictive way for the rest of your life. We want to get you empowered. We want to build your shield. Like you can go after life, because all of life causes stress. So as we go over this stress and like letting go, we have to realize that, Nicole, what you and I want in our lives will take stress. Promotions at work, building our families, getting pregnant or getting married or going on vacation. It's stressful to fly from here to Italy. It's a time zone change. What are you going to eat? The airport has crappy food. There's probably COVID circulating through the vents on the plane like the entire time, right? There's all this, like we live in a detox world. We live in a stress world. So as much as I want to release the anger, resentment, and pain, I have to hold on in certain ways. I have to practice forgiveness and I have to practice action. And I hope that it kind of answers it, because I think it's both. And if you can kind of find your way, everyone out there, like your unique answer there, and really say, this is what makes sense for me. I need more peace. I need more tapping. I need more hypnosis. I need more rest. I need more sleep. That is brilliant. That is great. And I want to empower. I want to see you do that. If you're someone who's like, I need to take the bull by the horns, yes, but don't do it from a place of anger or resentment.
Yeah, and I think too, like when we're considering this is what we're talking about is like really the digestive system, and we talk about the small intestine, the large intestine, the colon, and how it's all about like bringing stuff in and also excreting, right? Like you're not meant to bring it all in and then hold it for forever, right? You've got to let stuff go. And what I found, even with some of my clients, when it comes to certain symptomatic things that come up when it comes to like this particular system, the digestive system, one of the biggest things is like learning to let go. Letting go is probably one of the most important things because, like you said, rest and digest. You don't digest through control, you digest through rest. And so, can you let go? Can you just give yourself space and time to surrender and allow things to figure itself out? Because when we get into this mode of like trying to hack every little thing, and not that there's not part that's not part of the process, because it is, but you get to a point where, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do, but first and foremost, I've got to let go. That's like your number one thing. And I think that's super important to really remember. Like I'm curious to know, when you were in the hospital, 123 pounds and in a wheelchair, what was the moment when everything clicked for you and you realized, no one else outside of me is going to do this. I have to figure this out for myself.
Ooh, that's a great question. Can I give a little bit of strategy on what you just said about the let go, just to
Yeah.
top it off? One, in Eastern medicine, to let go is to heal the colon. The large intestine, the lungs, and the colon need an energy of let go in those meridians. That's one of the main energies to it. So you're absolutely right in that. And if I can give you a takeaway today at home to help let go, if you can even practice a little bit of breath work, meditation. I like a little product called Sensate, Sensat, but it helps, Sate. It helps me engage my parasympathetic, and it plays healing sounds in the headphones. So for people with monkey minds and just don't do meditation well, that has been really helpful for me. The second thing is walks in the morning. I love morning walks. Even when I was aggressive, I'm the kind of guy who has to be doing. So if you're like me and you're just proactive, if I could get a mile or half a mile, when I couldn't walk, it was like the stop sign and back, right?
Hmm.
But, just getting outside with the birds in the morning and getting that early infrared from the sun, or grounding, getting your feet in the ground and just make it productive. Try to make resting productive if you're a monkey mind person. And I like to do that by like waking up early. I find that if I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, and when I was healing even 3 months in, I go to bed at 9 and I'd wake up at about 6. So I always recommend like when you're healing about 9 hours at least, probably 10, to let your body heal. And you're fasting at that time, which is going to help with cellular repair. And that really helped me let go, is just having enough time. And then so I didn't feel rushed, and then practicing something productive that I could heal. So I might get in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber when I'm doing sensate, and then reading a book on healing, for example. So I'm productive, but I'm also in the parasympathetic. You know you're in the parasympathetic if you're salivating, okay? If you get your saliva moving and it's increasing in your mouth, that means you're engaged in the parasympathetic. So you want to see your heart rate
I
low.
didn't know that.
I wanted, before we got over it, I want to give some people some takeaways. Like, wow, I got something I can use today. Yes, so salivating. So what I used, my naturopath professor gave me this. He'd go, when you meditate, just try to practice salivating. Like sometimes I'll even breathe in, like imagining the most juicy, delicious, food. And I couldn't even eat it at the time. I'm like, why am I doing this? I can't even eat this. I can't even eat this. Why am I imagining it? But it also started working in my senses of like, what is really tasty? It's not Kit Kat bars. It's not donuts. It's not donuts. It's not. It's like, oh, that congee yesterday was so good with like that juicy rotisserie chicken with a little olive oil and big Celtic sea salt, and it's just melting in my mouth, and the carrot's just melting in my mouth, and it's got a little sea salt on it too. And I'm like, I'm starting to salivate right now. Are you salivating?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that because it's something I've noticed that I tend to salivate a lot. I feel like I salivate more than normal people, at least
Oh
in
yeah,
my
you're
head. That's what
parasympathetic. Nicole's gonna
I'm
outlive
like,
us all.
I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool that that's what it's happening. But I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. That's something I've been learning how to reset my vagus nerve and like really kind of, especially when you're in high stress moments and the body's wanting to go back to what it knows. And then like if it's a fear state or whatever it is, and you're really trying to grow and expand into new areas of your life, whatever they might be, to challenge yourself. The body just instantly wants to recoil, right? Because it doesn't believe like it's
Yeah.
safe, so to speak.
Well, you're scared. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we have to run. And
Yeah.
that's monkey mind.
Yeah.
So I'll answer your next question, but that's just something. Get yourself salivating. If you're like me and you need to be productive, go out and learn about earthing, where your bare feet are in the ground. It's going to be great for blood flow. It's going to be great for blood pressure. It's going to be great for detoxification, Herxheimer reaction, headaches. So now you start getting all these things like the way I did it, because I'm a crazy person who has to work all hard, right? So I'm like, I got to make it productive to turn off, or else I won't do it. So then I got like a little place in my house. I'm like, this is where I meditate. And I got like this cool pillow, and I lit this non-VOC candle, and I put on like rainforest sounds in the background. And now I felt more productive doing it. And so I had to make it I had to gamify it. I had to make it something like I wanted to do. And then I eventually do that still. I do it in the sauna. Like I'll try to control my heart rate as my heart rate's going up in 180-degree sauna, and try to meditate and do breath work. Or I will, earthing, or I'm in the sun or whatever. So you can do all that, salivating. And even as your eyes are dilated, that could be an answer. Another way to get yourself into the parasympathetic is belly breathing. So Buddha belly breathing. So right now I'm chest breathing as usual. So that's not good. You don't want to breathe up into your chest when you're talking fast like I am right now. That happens. So breathe into your belly, push your belly out like you see a doggy do or a baby do. Push it all the way out. And that diaphragm, that will actually start to massage your organs. And that's where you see those belly rollers. They're actually massaging their small intestine, which is 20 feet of your GI tract. Your colon, or also known as large intestine, is about 7 to 8 feet of your intestines. So what you're really doing is you're starting to massage that large intestine, that small intestine. So just practicing the diaphragm going out, diaphragm going in, creating motility, all right? And then also upward dog does that. So any kind of upward bow and arrow stretch opens up the small intestine. So you can even do this type of breath as you're doing light restorative types of stretching, right?
Yeah. This is where doing less is doing more.
Yes. And so, Nicole, when I was working on healing, I wasn't back in the gym. I was earthing. I was doing light stretching. I was doing breath work. I was seeing if I could drop in. That's where meditative people, if you really learn from them, they always use the word drop in. You make it productive, gamify it. Can you drop in? Use your sensei, use Enya music. Like I did a lot of music. I would also, another one when I was really, really sick and I couldn't walk, I would set an Epsom salt bath and I'd keep increasing the temperature of the bath because the hotter it is, the more it's acting like a sauna to help you sweat out toxins. Then I went from a half a scoop to Epsom salt to 2 scoops. Then I started adding in a little baking soda and apple cider vinegar, which helped me with the lymphatic system. So, and then I'd take a book. I'm 6'2" in this tiny little tub in a tiny little apartment. My legs are like crapped up like this. I'm doing meditation for 10 or 15 minutes, but I could get my monkey mind to do it because I'm in a hot bath. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. And then I put on the Enya music or the rainforest. Don't do the sensei because it's not waterproof. I've lost one doing that. And then I would read 10 to 20 pages of a book, of a healing book. And here's another thing to help you with your monkey mind. I challenge you. You cannot think about your problems and be a victim and think about those victimhood problems and read a page of a book at the same time. You can listen to things, you can listen to a book, but you can't read it.
Yeah.
You're going to lose where you are on that page if you're thinking about your problems. So the more you practice reading, you're going to actually give your mind 20 minutes off of Tony Robbins' mind, of Jordan Rubin's mind, Elaine Gottschall's mind, Eckhart Tolle's mind, Dr. Joe Dispenza's mind. And all of a sudden, you're just thinking like that author for 20 minutes straight. And when you throw that in the mix, your intuition, remember we talked about your healing, your intuition, your perspective, and your creative ability is going to soar.
Okay, let's talk about.
You're going to go boom.
Let's talk about that because
if you want to go this way, if you want to go to the protocols or the supplements or root causes or hospital, wherever you want to take it, Nicole.
Well, that is one thing that I've noticed. Well, obviously, your gateway to your intuition is through your gut, and so for you, like you just said, your intuition, your connection has skyrocketed, your creativity skyrocketed. That's also like your intuition, like your gut is your creative center, it's your intuition center, like all of that.
You are going to heal you because of that. No one's going to heal you. You heal you. Even if you work with me, even if someone worked with me, I healed me. No one will heal you better than you. Anyone in the world.
So have you found then with all of the different people that you're working with that there's no one size fits all? Like, are you approaching everyone from a unique perspective that is holding them?
That's exactly why our company and our mission is not scalable. SHIELD stands for Supplements, Herbs, Imagination, Exercise, Lifestyle, and Diet. And we build a custom shield every single person with the doctors or people on our staff. We don't have any medical doctors. We don't do that. We have people who are trained as doctors around the world. So yes, I believe in full customization because I've given, like we carry out, let's say 100 supplements. If I give somebody who has mast cell activation or severe SIBO, Lactobacillus acidophilus, they're going to get histamine reaction. They're going to get more bloating, gas, cramping, headache. They're going to feel terrible. Then they're going to throw their arms up and say, this doesn't work. Just like the last thing I tried, it doesn't work. Whereas if I give that to someone who's got more like proctitis, where the problem is more in the colon, but their small intestine's okay, they're probably going to do just fine actually working up on that same strain. So what it is, it's a chess match. You have to see your disease as your opponent. And the only way you're going to beat your opponent is to be able to break down and understand your opponent's moves in real time. So what I do is I sit next to you on the chess match. And then I look and I start telling you and making you aware of how your opponent's been moving against you. So whether you're getting a Herx reaction or you can't sleep or you have eczema or psoriasis or you're getting headaches, you can't lose that weight or you've got swollen ankles, those are symptoms of what the disease is doing in your body. And then I'm simplifying that and then I'm helping to build that protocol with you. So for you in the beginning, because no one knows what they're doing. And then I want to train you to be your own best doctor. So with you as we go. And then really one of the best ways, like the overarching thing I can do to get massive success, and this takes usually like a year or two, but if people want to go that far, but the very best thing I can do is get to a point where you can heal you better than I can heal you. Because I don't have your intuition. I don't have your creative nature. I can't be with you every single day to know how you felt and what happened on the plane and someone pissed you off, you didn't sleep well, someone around you just got COVID, you got COVID, whatever, right? There's too much. The goal is for you to become self-empowered, building your own shield and being able to always harness that by talking with others doing the same, talking to specialists and professionals who've been doing it for 10 years, and then being able to make sense of that based on symptoms, how you feel, and also lab work. So functional lab work, like a gut zoomer or organic acid test or a total tox burden test or a cytokine panel. So we'll actually help people get all those tests. So we can do blood, urine. We can't do blood to the same as a doctor, and we want to run certain things through insurance, and there's certain liability things that we make sure to massage. But I could do a stool analysis in Dubai. So we've really try to build that all out. So that's what it means by customization is everyone needs their own custom answer, but you're going to start with basics that everyone can do. So what can everyone do right now? Everyone right now, here are about 7 or 8 things off the dome I'm going to give you that you can do that it doesn't matter what your case is, you should be considering. Number one is you got to get happy before you get healthy. So what we've been talking about with letting go, you've got to learn how to dance in the rain. Meaning I'm going to choose to go to bed and not be crying until 2 a.m. I'm going to get real sleep. I'm going to calm myself down and I'm going to start with meditation. I'm going to start with breath work. I'm going to start with sunshine. I'm going to start reading a book on positivity. I'm going to turn off Narcos and every other Netflix thing that's kill this guy, do that, turn that stuff off and spend that time with positivity. Okay. You got to get happy before you get healthy. You got to learn to dance in the rain. Okay. Control your nervous system, control your energetic experience. Number 2 is you've got to be disciplined on what you put in your mouth. Now I'm saying I can work with you if you're vegan. I can work with your carnivore. I can work with your paleo. 80% of the clients I work with, we try to move them around some kind of AIP or paleo diet. So it's being specific with grains, using meats, using some vegetables, pretty good amount of fruit if you do well, depending on how you do with that fructose. And so get specific about what you're eating and make it make sense to you. You co-sign on it as much as anyone else co-signs on it. And what you can do on that right now is stop snacking. I don't care who you are, unless you have a very, very, very unique problem in a caloric deficit, you need to stop snacking and having 2 to 3 square meals a day. You should be getting, anywhere. I know if you're really sick, you can't handle 2,000 calories, but working up to getting 2,000 or 2,500 calories and stop putting snacks in your body. That's when your gut is healing. That's when your microbiome is working. That's when your body's probably getting ready to evacuate the toxins out of your colon. And that's why you're having 4 or 5 bowel movements in the morning. It's because your body can't properly eliminate the fecal matter. And it's probably because you're still snacking on stuff. You're like, oh, it's gluten-free. I don't care it's gluten-free. I don't care if it's a carrot. Stop snacking. Get yourself some bowel rest. Get specific on when you eat, because then I can work with you more in advanced. Once you make very specific moves, now we're on the chessboard and I can get you more advanced. I can get you to black belt 10 times faster than I got to the black belt. So the answer there, Nicole, just to give people a little bit, is variable control.
Yeah.
If you're always eating, I'm going to lose. It's too foggy. The variables are too foggy. So whether you're eating avocados, you're not eating avocados, you're eating bananas, you're not, you're having chicken, you're not, you're having sorghum or quinoa, or you're not, whatever. Build the plan and get reduced variables. So that's probably the 4th one there is you have to get specific. And the variable control is going to be done through journaling. So Nicole, I'm actually going to link it below. Anyone who wants my journal, it's completely free. I'll give it to anyone listening right now. It's a download right below this. It's my 60-day healing journal. I created this when I finally decided to heal. So Nicole, when I had that switch you were asking me for, what's the first thing I did? The very first, I did 2 things. I did prayer and purpose morning and night to control my mind because I was so angry, depressed, resentful. And I wanted to give it up to God and say, like, it's in your hands. I'm going to act every day, but I have faith you don't mean for me to be sick and you're on my side. So I prayed prayer and purpose on that. And then I journaled every day, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. So Dr. Dane saw patient Dane and put his ass in check. Because I had to divorce conventional life. Like I grew up in Virginia. I worked at Papa John's for 4 years. I went to school in South Carolina. All we did is play beer pong and drink Coors Light and Budweiser and eat pizza and try to eat a lot of weight and lift heavier weights in the gym. Like that was the Southern boy mentality. So I lived that. That's all I knew. Everything I ate was gluten. So I had a huge energetic spiritual shift that took me like 3 or 4 years. It was not quick for me. Yeah. And I didn't have this type of podcast helping me out. So so those are things like you can say right there. I'd say I digress right there. I could give you more, but those right there will be a game changer.
No, I want to do something really fun with you.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to make a comment on, I love what SHIELD stands for, by the way. I love that imagination is in there. Can you tell me why imagination is part of the customization of SHIELD?
Because you are the answer. Because imagination is me trying to sum up perspective, creation, intuition. Those 3 spiritual energies you want to really meditate on. Like everyone listening right now, just try to write 3 or 4. Just sit there, and I want you to just brain dump on what perspective means to you. And watch how many limiting beliefs come out right now. If you're in spiritual anger and pain right now, and you are sick and lost, just brain dump for 5 minutes on what the word intuition means to you or means to others. And I want you to do this. Think of the happiest person you know. Nicole, I want to do that. Well, you were going to do one with me.
Yeah, so go ahead and then I'll do one with you.
Okay. Nicole, who's the happiest person you know?
Oh, the happiest person I know?
Yeah,
Gee.
say them out loud. Give them a shout out.
Oh, I'm gonna
No
say
one ever
Erica.
does
I'm
this.
gonna say Erica.
Okay, Erica. Tell me about Erica's intuition.
It's fucking on point. Okay, let me just tell you.
Okay, this is the brilliant thing about life, guys. This is what I was doing in a house for a year when I was sick. I was starting to become aware of life, just life's truths, universal law. Just because you don't have the best perspective or intuition in the world doesn't mean you can't recognize it when you see it.
Hmm.
That's the brilliance of life. You can recognize brilliance. You recognize truth.
Hmm.
You recognize the happiest people. You could be angry and resentful. You'll still recognize the happiest people in the world have the best intuitions and they have the best perspective. You're in the back of the car, they're in the front of the car, and you're going, man, this day sucks. I got pain and it's raining outside. And then the happiest person's going, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, I hope you have a better day. And man, I'm really excited about A, B, and C.
You want to know why? You want to know why the
Okay, go
happiest
ahead.
people?
Tell me. Give me more. Give me
Because
more
they're
color.
not in resistance.
There it is. Well, that's beautiful. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Their
When you're
intuition
happy with
allows
life, you're
them to
not resisting
flow.
anything.
Yeah, they're in flow. And it doesn't mean they're not productive. It doesn't mean they're a victim. And it doesn't mean they're being taken advantage of. And sick people who are in victim are fighting that. I'm being taken advantage of.
Hmm.
This is not fair. And happy people have found a way to let that go.
Yeah. Okay, that was fun. And now we're going to do my fun
Okay,
thing.
do one. Okay.
Okay, so I want you to kind of go back to 22, 23-year-old Dane,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, egotistical, thinks he's a
And
know-it-all. Yeah,
I'm going to read something to you and I want you to tell me what, if any,
okay.
really resonates with that version of you, okay?
Mhm.
And yeah, okay. And then also, well, let's just start there. Hold on a second here. Okay. Um, where is it? Oh, okay. Crohn's, okay? These are the emotional roots of Crohn disease, okay?
Okay, emotional roots. Go ahead.
Negative attitude. Oh, we all just talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Negative
Lots of spite.
attitude,
Yeah, lots of spite.
criticism,
Yeah.
constant put downs, a tendency to see life from a gloomy or cynical perspective,
Yeah.
trying to suppress rather than allow or feel uncomfortable feelings,
Mhm.
constantly trying to hide your sensitivity and pretending to be confident, okay, and undisturbed by other people's comments while feeling sick on the inside.
Yeah, and I think anyone who's been sick in general can relate to a lot of that. But I can go off with this. I mean, what drove me to become an actor and model? I mean, I had something to prove. Divorced parents, dad went through a rough time in life. I felt like I need to carry the name and I had a very I'll show you attitude. So that sensitivity, absolutely. I had a very sensitive hurtness that I wanted to show you. I'm going to be the biggest, the strongest, the rippedest. I'm going to book this, be that, be a pretty boy, whatever, right? And so definitely in the not willing to let go. About 2 months before I nearly died of Crohn's, I broke up with my girlfriend who was the closest person to me in life besides my mother. I knew we weren't going to get married. I didn't want to marry, but she was like she was awesome. She was there for me. Like as you get older and you really understand the value of like what a wife is versus a kid boy
Mhm.
who has a
Mhm.
girlfriend, is like, oh, she's hot. Like all that crap, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was my first time really understand what it was like to have like a woman, not a girl, like a woman in my life who didn't flinch when I had such shameful experiences because she had dated a big strong lad and now I got a chain like she was you don't understand. It was, I mean, it tears me up almost thinking about it now. Like that was really hard. When I lost her, I was really hurt and it was my doing and she was really hurt by me and it was so tough. I remember she was crying and I couldn't even walk. I was stuck on a bed. I could not move and I was crying and she was crying because we had already broken up, but she was still taking care of me. It was really bad. So, it was, yeah. So a lot of pain, a lot of resentment or hurt, a lot of spite, anger. I mean, yeah, I had a I show you mentality. So I think if we painted a picture and all that, I could say that yes, that was all there.
Okay. And then for colitis, difficulty in digesting life, apprehension, can't keep painful emotions down anymore, a cry for help, feeling defeated and worthless, wanting to give up or give in. It's all too much to cope with, difficulty in seeing other people's points of view, and a great need for approval and to be right.
During the worst of colitis, that a lot of that's true because it's why me, nothing works, the doctors can't help me. And when I read about natural medicine, I thought this was a scam and I thought no one could do it. I literally thought 1% of people, 1 out of 100 could actually do this, like this restrictive diet for the rest of your life, especially the old books. But I don't think it fully resonates because when I got chronically sick, I got diagnosed in the beginning when I was stuck in an office, and I did have a little bit more what you said there. But when I got really bad, my life was taking off. That was the irony of it. Like I was booking jobs in around the world. It was such a gift. I did a 9 to 5 in an office, quit, moved to LA, and then I was going doing all this cool stuff. I was being put up in 5-star hotels. I was there. It was, commercials, and and I was getting terribly sick, and it was a why me. So it was a why me. It was an anger. It was a spite. It was a resentment that I don't know if fully marinates, but when it was really bad, yeah, a lot of that was there.
I can see that because, but ultimately what it is it's an attack on the body from the inside out, right? It's
Yeah.
everything's getting attacked internally. And so that's a very angry emotion, right? Like anger, attack, like they're kind of like go hand in hand.
I,
And so the inflammation comes up from the anger, really not knowing where to go or what to do with it. And then, of course, just maybe feeling it, but really internalizing it, right? Maybe not feeling like safe enough to express it.
I,
Especially when you're in a mentality, when you're an athlete or someone who's always kind of been at the top of your game,
Mhm.
your mindset is, well, I know how to fix this. I know I'm gonna know how to get myself out of this. And so there comes a point where you do have to surrender. Maybe you don't know yet. Like there's a place where it's like, what if I just stop for a second, pretend I know nothing, and kind of move into that space that's so empty, but yet so powerful, because then anything can come in. That's where like your imagination really starts to blossom and take root, is because you've now removed all of what you think you know, which isn't that it's not invaluable. It's just it can clutter up the space where new innovation needs to come in a time where it's going to be something completely different than you realize that you need to do.
You're 100% right. That it blinds you from the even the tweaks you need to change that day until moving on. And if it say takes you 6 months or 9 months to get really, really good in your health and you feel confident again, like those daily changes that you were blind to shift. So you're right. You have that awakening and you let go of this trauma and you start accepting certain things. And then it allows space for, I don't need this, and this is better for me, and this relationship doesn't serve me, and I don't need to do that. I do want to put something to what you said that I think is really important from my experience. I think a lot of people out there. There was a deep issue around self-acceptance. I was not, and even to this day, I'm not usually willing to accept where I am. I always want more in my life, and I'll burn myself out a bit to do it. So this has been happening since I was 14 years old. So I think that had something to do with ulcerative colitis, really, is I was the guy who was going to go push myself in the gym, and when my body was saying no, I'd take pre-workout to make it say yes. When my body wouldn't want to grow more muscle or didn't want to do, I would force my body by adding another 50 grams of crappy protein that my gut had to deal with. And I just constantly pushed past, like, how that motivational American thing is like, you got to battle, you got to want it as much as you want to breathe. You got to bleed for this. You got to get dirty like that. I was living that. So I was willing to say, go through the pain now because it'll be worth it when you do that. So even when I got out of corporate world and I wanted to make it in that other world, I mean, I was on a treadmill 6 days a week. I was killing my body. I could hardly walk the next day. And I do see a lot of athletes doing that. And I didn't care about how healthy was something. It was like, how much is this going to help me get more shredded and more muscle at the same time? And so I think a little bit of that lack of self-acceptance, and even, when you're doing that with fitness, or you're doing that with career, or you're doing that with building a business, if you have this energy constantly, you're not good enough, and I'll show you, I think that's a really, really slippery slope for gut health. And I see like I've worked with rugby players, I've worked with athletes who are in that. And I think something that I'm so blessed to have that ulcerative colitis and Crohn's taught me through pain was a sense of it's not worth it. And I can love myself and no one really cares. No one really cares how ripped your abs are. No one really cares how big your shoulders are. No one really cares if you have another $1 million or whatever. It's like that's not where love is, and that's not where happiness is. And as much as you go, it's good to go after your goals, but balance is where you get a real marriage and a real family and a real friendship and a real self-acceptance where you can be at peace. And I think that a lot of what we chase in Western world, there's too much of it will harm you and make you sick.
Well, especially for the gut, because the gut is kind of in that sacral chakra, right? That second chakra. And that's all about, that holds our feelings. And so when you aren't allowing yourself to feel pain, to feel the hurt that you're putting your body through, you're like, no, we're not feeling this. We're just going to keep pushing. Well, you're completely going to the opposite of what that place, like, that's why it shows up in that area, because the ability to feel is to allow. And that place, again, like you said, you had to let go. I'm just going to move into allowance. But again, it's so interesting that you say, the self-acceptance is very important, because I remember, in my body has been one of my greatest teachers throughout my life. I'm so grateful for it, even though there were times where I thought it was letting me down and I hated it. And I just was so angry at my body for not being able to do the things that I wanted it to do, because I thought I needed to be performing at a certain level or being able to do certain things, and other people could do them, I couldn't. That's not where I lived. I could always do what everyone else did. Like that was like my mentality, right? And so when I had to go sit in stillness, and I sat in silence for like 10 days through this Vipassana meditation course, the one place that I reached for just 2 hours out of the whole 10 days, the one place that was like the most pivotal, was 2 hours where I realized there was nothing I needed to change about myself. I was in total acceptance of who I was. And it's interesting because it wasn't a happiness. It was more of just a contentment. Like nothing needs to change. Like you're in this state, zero resistance. It's like nothing needs to be better, nothing needs to be worse. Like everything is just perfect. And that is like a true state of being in agreement with your personal design by God's nature. It's like, oh, I don't have to change anything. I don't have to fight anything. It is enough. I am enough. And to be in that state is such a liberating place. I'll always remember it because it's my north node back to, home, right? To me, that was like, I remember being in just absolute tears coming out of that meditation, because I recognized I'd never felt that before in my life. I didn't feel what it was like to just be perfect, to not want to change anything about myself, and that was my home. And so I think that is something that I think is so important, especially when I think too, with people who are very type A personalities, people who feel like they have to perform, they have to push, they have to be on top, like that is something that can deeply affect that area and impact you, where you realize, because I'm to this day, to this moment in time, I'm currently going through a new layer of my own healing where I'm like in my business, realizing I don't have to push. I don't have to work so hard. I can actually make more money with more white space on my calendar, because I'm in my joy. I'm in my creative space. I'm actually more productive doing less, when I'm in that space and not feeling like I have to do more to be more. And so I think that's like important.
I honestly, what's coming to me right now, Nicole, is I think you should do like a two-part series podcast just on self-acceptance. I think it's one of the biggest problems in America right now. I just people don't understand how hard it is, and doing it is not a switch. It's a conditioning of the soul. It's like saying you're done going for runs to stay in shape. You'll never be done. The soul has to be conditioned the same as the body. So when you got there, you went so far that you conditioned a breakthrough. and that allowed you to feel something different. Knowing and feeling are two different things, and
Mm-hmm.
feeling must be earned. It cannot just be thought.
No.
Okay, feeling must be earned, and you went there hard to earn that moment. And you know what you did? You did not only gave yourself permission to say, I'm perfect the way I am now, you gave everyone you love the same. Because one of the problems with people who go really hard is that in some subconscious way, we make everyone else, and especially our spouses, feel like they're not good enough in that moment either. Because we're pushing, they need to push. And there's a balance and a goodness in that, especially, when it's New Year's or something of that nature. You go, oh, we're both going to push. And you got to really have a good space of that. But when you did that, you allowed everyone else to kind of feel that energy and go, I can calm down too. Because everyone shares in the energy. If I'm around you, Nicole, I might feel more calm because of your calming energy. So what you do for yourself, I pick up on, and so does everyone else you love. And the people we love the most spend the most time around us. So they pick up on the fruits of our labor the most. And self-acceptance, man, I still struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just been born, and it's like this innate thing. It's like, what is good and what's bad? Like some of us might have, there's a balance in life of what's good. Like there's too much exercise is bad. Like, or sex is good, but too much of it in a certain way can be bad. Or having goals for the next year, it's good, but too much of it can be hurtful. Life is about balance, and we always want to condition ourselves to get that fruitful experience out of it. And I think self-acceptance is something that, as I look at it, is just deeper and deeper and deeper. And like if you ever looked at people who do minimalism and they really get into that movement,
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this subconscious love for that. Like, wow, these people are working on letting go of things that don't actually matter. And I'm like, that's something I could really work on,
Yeah.
It's like when we say we need these big closets, it's like, do we? And it's okay to work for it. It's okay. It's okay to work for it. But I'm like, I just invite everyone listening right now just to decide your truth, perspective. Decide your happiness. There is no the happiness. It's your happiness. There is no the answer. It's your answer. There is no the the Crohn's colitis program. It's your Crohn's colitis program, because IBD doesn't even exist. IBD equals IDK. They don't even know what the root cause is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a white canvas of what's causing some of this stuff. And I can give you 100 different protocols and strategies to look at, but I love what you're saying on self-acceptance. And I like being around people who are self-accepting because it calms me down. And I know I need to work on it. And if you're sick, one of the best things you can do is just start deciding what you don't need just as much as what you do need. And I think we might get more fruit today if you write down 10 things on what you no longer need, as much as fruit as you're going to get from writing down 10 things that you do need.
Yes.
Letting go, right? There it is, letting go.
A lot of times it's just extra that doesn't need to be there.
It just doesn't, Like one
Yeah.
thing I like to do just from a financial point of view is I decided I was going to buy my car in cash, because everyone's cool paying $500 a month for a $50,000 car, but no one wants to pay $50,000 for a $50,000 car.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, just so I don't keep upgrading my car every 5 seconds, like I'm going to own my car. And man, has it calmed me down from ever getting another car.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
yeah, because if you pay for it in cash, you're like, I'm not paying $20,000 for that upgrade. But if you pay per month, you're like, and so that's just another example. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
get creative, remember we talked about it with imagination, creation, intuition, and perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You can shift those to help train you to be more happy, to dance in the rain and do things in life that you really want. And I do the same thing with food. Like I don't have a diet. It's my perspective. I don't have a diet. I have a lifestyle, because eating's a lifestyle. I have a lifestyle that makes me happy and healthy. And I just don't eat poison. I don't poison myself.
I want you to imagine
Okay.
going back, like you today, going back in time into the hospital room where you were sitting in the wheelchair and you realized they're not going to do it for me. I have to do it for me. What would you like to say to that version of you if they could hear you now?
I would probably I would just try to help my younger self just give the boldness. I got there. I did it. I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. Don't
Mhm.
think I'd be here. If I didn't have that pain, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the courage to get on a podcast and start a company and spend 10, 12 years and bootstrap this thing and just do everything I've done and try to help so many people. I mean, it's a weight to try to help sick people. Like most people don't get it. Like when you do this as a living, you live in the world of trauma and sickness and ER rooms. And so I would just say, um, you're on the right path. Believe in yourself. Don't be scared to go through the fire. You can't go around life. You really have to go through it. And that's God's gift. And that's why we talk as long as we talk. That's why we don't run out of things to say. It is a journey, and a journey required for something to be beautiful. So if you want a beautiful journey, you are saying, I want adversity, because beauty is something that's fleeting. So I would say, I would say to him, I'd say, you're on a beautiful journey and you're doing the right things. And just what people tell me now, keep praying. Keep, like, what would I say to myself? I'd say the same thing I'd probably say to myself for the next 5 years. Keep praying, keep loving, keep going on walks, keep focused on what matters to you, and don't be scared to reach for the moon and land in the stars or get the moon. But I'd also say be careful what you wish for, because with everything that you ask God for, there comes pros and cons. You want to get a bunch of social media followers, you want to make a lot of money, you want to get that new career, get that new promotion. It comes with stuff. It comes with the side of stuff. And I would just say that, remember that every decision you make in life has give and has get. It has pros and it has cons. There is not one decision for anyone in this world that does not have pros and cons. You ever heard someone talk about the cons of winning the lottery? There is a pro and con list for everyone and everything on every walk of life. So you just got to realize self-acceptance. And I would just say, accept yourself. It's okay. You can talk about it. You can share online that you've had 20 bloody vomits a day and you pooped your pants 50 times. And I can say it right now, and it's okay. It's to let go. It's okay to feel some shame. It's okay to not be good enough. It's okay. No, you're not going to be alone for the rest of your life, because you don't think no one will ever accept you for who you are and what you've been through. And the sooner you accept yourself, the sooner your partner can accept themselves, and you guys can live that truth. Because I've seen people with a lot less, a lot happier.
That is something I hear from a lot of my clients who are very wealthy and have achieved a lot of their goals in life, and they think back, I remember when I was just making
Yeah.
50, 70K a year, and life was a lot easier and I was a lot happier, like,
Emails. Yeah.
and it's
And
not
everyone's
that
getting
I want
lawyers.
to say it's not that you can't be happy having more. It's just what's motivating you to want more, right? Like it's the motivations have to align with the goals and the purpose and what you actually really want. So again,
Imagination.
yeah,
Imagination.
exactly. So, well, it's been a pleasure, Dane, to have you on the podcast. Please let my audience know more about Shield and how they can contact you and join you on this journey if like they're feeling very called to do that.
Yeah, I just want to start with, whenever you connect with someone on your health, look for two things: trust and integrity. And, in that path, look to people who connect with what your mission is, what your goal is, help customize you a plan, and specifically have dealt with what you're dealing with. I think that's all really important. I spent a lot of money in natural medicine. So those are the things, if you do those, your chance of success is going to skyrocket and you're not going to regret it. With us, we do a 1 hour free session with you to hold space and just support you. And if we can help you and we feel like there's a good connection, we'll go from there. But I can give Nicole a link to that if she wants, if you guys want to check that out. It's a 1 hour free session, and you also have my journal down below. That's what I created when I was housebound. So it's the exact journal I use to heal. And can find us at Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle. We're predominantly on Instagram, YouTube, Google. And just reach out if you need help. We'll hold space for you. We're here for you. And yeah, healing is possible. Thanks for having me.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dane, for coming on the show and sharing all of your beautiful insights and wisdom that have come through living the journey, not reading about the journey, but truly living it and breathing it and still on that journey. It sounds like, because I think that's one thing that, when you were talking about pain and, that part of you that's just like so tired of going through the pain, and I get it. Oh my gosh, I get being there, right? But that pain, as soon as you no longer resist it and you turn to it as your teacher versus your enemy, that's where the real wisdom starts to come in and the journey starts to pivot and turn in the most beautiful ways possible. So I encourage any of my listeners, if you are also on a journey similar to Dane, or you know someone who's going through this, please share this podcast with them. And I'm going to leave all of the links that Dane mentioned earlier. I'm going to leave them all in the show notes below. So please look into that. And of course, if any of you are looking to get deep change for yourself and are wanting to join me at my 3-day 180 retreat, that is coming up February 26th. I'd love to see you there for 2 mushroom journeys to really open up your mind, to show you what is available to you in that vast space of openness, and really collapse timelines around where you are today and where you want to be. I love you guys. Have an incredible week, and I'll be back with you next time. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.